Welcome back to another exciting panel discussion. This panel discussion will be hosted by Mr. Laxmi Kumar. He is a passionate technologist currently working with JPMorgan Chase, and he serves there as the VP architect. He has 16 plus years experience in design, development, and delivery of enterprise scale applications. His laser focus area includes system design, agile engineering, cloud native, analytics, and machine learning. He authored several articles covering various cutting edge technologies and toolkits in cloud native and machine learning realms. On this note, I invite Mr. Laxmi to moderate this panel discussion on harnessing everything as a service to optimize IT functions and processes, offering agility, innovation, and tools for rapid changing world. Over to you, Mr. Laxmi.
Thank you, Tarun. Hello, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Let me shout out from the rooftops. Thank you for all the attendees and panel to this panel discussion today. Despite this being the weekday, more importantly, being so positive at the times, like times of uncertainty that we are going through. And I hope all of you are safe and healthy. Wish you all to continue to be so. Today's point of discussion being harnessing everything as a service to optimize IT functions and processes, offering agility, innovation, and tools for rapidly changing world. The questions and answers lie within. That said, let's take a step back, and I spend a couple of minutes on the evolution of as a service. In the IT world, everyone is talking about as a service, from software to platforms, infrastructure to everything. Buzzwords and benefits are bandied around, such as agility, cloud native, rapid elasticity, on-demand, utility billing, so on and so forth. The list is big, but what is missing may be clarity. Yes, it sounds like it suffers seriously from a lack of clarity. Towards this end, I'm going to level set few foundational facts quickly around this. It's like looking back at the timeline of things. Where does this echo of as a service come from? Quote unquote, as a service. Do not sell me the machine, however, sell the functionality of the machine. This is the core. As the inflection point in this journey, software as a service as pitched in so powerfully disrupted traditional IT in the CRM's world, especially in the form of Salesforce. It challenged the classic model of installation and maintenance of the software on-premise. It pushed to deliver the service via internet over cloud by request. Then came platform as a service, provided the platform for our applications to be deployed, etc. However, the innovation train did not stop here. In 2006, Amazon launched its leapfrog suite called AWS Infrastructure as a Service. It's a virtual data center. They started selling this as a computing as a service. A couple of years later, Google's came along, Microsoft's came along. We live currently in the managed services era. This is how we got to the point that we are today. In short, it gave us a different playing field, and it really paved the way for new opportunities. Inspired by this everything as a service, we get to see mobility as a service. For example, it is being fulfilled by Ubers and Lyfts. Grocery as a service by, look at Big Baskets and Geomarts. It offered level playing field no matter what the size of the company was. Right. Having that said, today the panel that I have is esteemed and distinguished panel. We'll try to untangle the story of SaaS, cloud computing, digital transformation, connectivity, so on and so forth. To really make it well-rounded discussion, my attempt is that I'm ready with burning set of questions, starting with why SaaS is standing out, what is the relevance of this theory today, what has it in store for us, what tools are at play to achieve this. Is it really a silver bullet strategy? Are there any caveats that drive home? Are we going to get the biggest bang for the buck? All these and much more. My name is Laxmi Kumar Sameta. I am the moderator of this discussion today. Along with me, I have, like I said, distinguished panel who shares the digital stage today. Right? Let me go across. Dr. Syed Peerzade. IT visionary with transformation focus with more than 2 decades of experience. He is backed by PhD in digital transformation technology. He's a global thought leader having a remarkable experience in varied business verticals. Currently, he is a group CIO with Reliance Entertainment. We are fortunate to have you with us, sir. Looking forward to engaging and getting insights on this topic. Welcome, Dr. Sayed. Up next, Mr. Shyam Seshadri is a technology leader, innovator. He has co-founded a number of startups in the past. He delivered many large-scale applications with the tech giants like Amazon and Google. Currently, he is head of the innovations lab at TATA AIG. Welcome you, Shyam. It is a great delight to have you with us today. Up next, Mr. Manasij, he comes with a strong partner management experience. He's a great experienced in building new markets across the globe. Is currently is with Wizergos. This is a organization that works on an AI infused low code platform. He is working as head of the business development, partnerships, and alliances. I am super excited at the prospect of joining and hearing your insights, Manasij.
Thank you, Laxmi.
Welcome.
Thank you all.
With the right set of the panel with me today, I promise it is going to be a vibrant interaction. So let me go across the panel with my first question. So how is this innovation culture as a business, right, of the business shifting with the advent of everything as a service? And how do we handle, this is a related but different question, how do we handle the challenge with rapidly changing bleeding edge technologies? I'll go across Dr. Sayed first.
Hi, Laxmi. Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Tarun, for inviting me and making part of this allied panel. I can see some of the known faces here. Happy to meet you all. Very relevant questions, Lakshmi. I'll give a little bit elaborate answer, but much non-technical, by the way. Coming to a first question for innovative culture kind of thing, right? For any organization, we can always summarize the importance of aspects of wonderful topic of innovation by touching upon 4 essential aspects as for me. One is thought, one is security, one is culture, and team. These are all knitted together to bring the innovative culture to the organization. Okay, so let's touch upon first one, thought. The main purpose of roadmap is to develop the approach that wins the support of executives, correct? Managers, employees within the company, having the we all having several complexities and business units and important corporate functions in mind. The digital roadmap should also make it easier for the core team to actually make this happen. That's very important to bring the innovative culture. Coming to security, that is directly related to innovation. For me, strongly recommend this aspect should be taken during the design phase itself, when you are designing the project. I have mandated myself on this, and believe me, it helped me a lot in terms of sustainability as well as the project for the business outcomes, especially during COVID times. Like actually, we are going through tough times. We are going through. Now coming to culture, where we directly connect the innovation to actually. During my discussion. Within, I heard managers, CIOs, CSOs during the discussion that most of the critical issue in tapping into talent and innovation is to make a organization to bring everyone like innovation habit. That's what every CIOs talk about, and everyone is talking about. Such as understanding customers, bringing a diverse group together, or develop solutions, or sharing rough ideas. But that kind of culture is not a natural state in most of the organizations. You all agree to that, right? where the default is to focus on executing today and ever precise discipline, but not inventing tomorrow. That's what we usually do because we have lots of day-to-day works. But business disruptions and competitions cannot be beaten without innovations. That's the crux. Okay, and when we focus on the customer experience, everything as a service is what we have to look at specifically in the present conditions, and we can achieve success in the business. Of course, we need to build a team which needs to be part of that innovation. So these are four aspects which I believe can bring the innovation rather than only working innovation in the silos. So now coming to a second question, which is very important question, bleeding edge technology and all that. My mandate is to address these challenges, take an enterprise-wide approach. Okay, digital transformation cannot be accomplished in silo. It's my personal experience. And currently, the bulk of the work is carried out by IT teams without the involvement of cross-functional teams within the company, right? From
Yeah.
CEO to CFO, employees should be involved to take the decisions and risks. These steps are very necessary to transform the business because we are not only transforming the technology, we are transforming the business by bringing the innovations. Otherwise, projects will remain on book, as cost of the CFO or technology for CIO. That's how it is, right? So that's my point of view.
Sure. Up next, you want to go, Shyam?
Sure, Laxmi. So I think from my side, I think Dr. Syed really brought in the organizational challenge of driving innovation, and it's something I struggle with here at Tata AG as well. I'll touch upon the technology side, right, of what the everything as a service is really enabled. So from a company perspective, XaaS or everything as a service is really, it's a factor of two things from where I come from. Other than the organizational part, there is one, the knowledge part, right? What all can be accomplished. Previously, everything was done in silos. Each function had its own skill set, own knowledge. Now everything with technology and everything as a service has become more democratized. Anybody can do everything, and actually everybody does everything, right? So one, what we knew previously is outdated. What can be done today with technology and how you can use technology to really speed up things is really different. So driving that knowledge, driving that information, and then getting business adoption and driving business use cases becomes really critical. And then the second thing is the capability, right? What all can you do? And that's really where everything as a service is really shine. Previously, what used to be multiple different companies bringing in specific expertise, doing large projects, large term, multi-month contracts. With everything as a service, it's become kind of plug and play. Right? Oh, I have an idea, I want to try out something, I can plug in, here's an API, you plug into it, you try it out. If it makes sense, you scale it up. If not, you move on. Right? And that's happening from everything from AI, ML, of course, infrastructure is there, platforms for different functions. So what it also has democratized is access to talent and cutting edge, right? Which also leads into your second question. As a large company, I have certain processes. I'm happy with that. But here now, what is the latest, what is the best way to do things is now available. I can choose to see if it fits. I can choose to see if there are other options available. I can choose to build multiple things together and then get something that works for me. That's really what everything as a service is works with. And especially true with security, right? Because now everybody is on the cloud, everybody's integrating with everything as a solution. Security becomes ever more critical. And so, of course, now you have this layer of security as a service also, which needs its own security. Let's not go down the inception route. But that's really what everything as a service is really enabled for a company like Tata AG to tap into the best of talent, best of solutions, and really give the best experiences to the customers and our internal. Now, on the second part with bleeding edge, absolutely iterate Dr. Syed's response. It's enterprise, right? We're building for enterprise here. So the cutting edge, what maybe has not yet been validated, not yet ready for adoption, is something we might keep an eye on. But really something that has been tested at an enterprise level, or we might choose to do that, but we ensure that it doesn't impact the customer. If you're really experimenting with cutting edge, the customer has to be taken in mind. It should not impact the customer. It should not impact the business. You try it out in silos. You try it out to see if something can scale, right? And that's kind of our outlook with the bleeding edge of technology. A little bit more stable, a little bit more subdued in that approach.
Sorry. Thank you, Shyam. It was insightful. Manasij, you want to take on?
Yeah, I think Dr. Syed and Shyam have put it very nicely, from both from the cultural perspective and from the technology perspective. What does it mean? This is about innovation, putting up a innovative culture, and in terms of technology, what are the things that are being democratized with technology? I would probably take this question maybe a bit different from and put a more of an external layer to this innovation culture, and focus on what does the everything as a service is providing and resetting some of our expectations, right? I think one of the key things that it has enabled with the technology, with the cultures now in place, is agility. I think as everything as a service being democratized and everybody has touch maybe at their fingertips a set of tools of where they can build and go to market and build on their ideas. What this has set is a new paradigm on agility. Things are changing. Not just change, but change is accelerating. I think there's, the pace of change is increasing, is what I've been observing. And there, the everything as a service has been a big catalyst to that, to get things off the ground very quickly. And since I come from an environment of a low-code platform, this agility really helps customers, get to the market with the newer ideas, bringing in newer innovations, how to really disrupt the market. And in addition to some of the technologies that were big discussed, we also see a uptake of newer technologies surrounding, of course, machine learning, AIs, but new things like the Siris of the world, the Alexas of the world, the voice, the chats. New forms of technologies are getting executed, which brings into rise newer innovative ideas. And really, how does this all get orchestrated in an enterprise, right? So yes, a lot of things are happening, both from an internal perspective in an enterprise, also from an external market forces that are at play. And I think how the organization really leverages some of those technologies, those innovations that are out there, essentially is a great time to really innovate and and build out your own ideas there, Laxmi.
Thank you, Manasij. It was informative and comprehensive. So I'll go across again, Dr. Syed, on one of the questions. So Dr. Syed, the pandemic let us stay indoors bulk of last year and most likely full of this year as well, unfortunately. As a result, one of the developments that we can see is OTT side of the world has witnessed a massive boost, right? So please explain us, you coming from entertainment industry as a technology leader, the digital ecosystem that got future-proofed to scale this unprecedented surge without compromising the quality of the content. Also, please explain us as an organization how you turn inward and figure out the digitization to help the concepts like smarter content personalization. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, Laxmi. Relevant question in terms of the business phase we are going through. See, when we get into a realm of a strategy, okay, we need to look at the things from the lens of the consumer. That's the crux, okay, for any business, not only media. With respect to consumer, the digital transformation is so complete. Okay, it has defined the grammar of storytelling to the extent that digital content is the mother gene of umbrella category nowadays. Okay, so no doubt digital transformation is the key. Cloud, social, analytics, AI, all are going to play a major role in this. So when we talk about the stack adaptations like or BRIDA or blockchain, robotics, automation, IoT, digital fabrications, AR, we use most of these things like AR or most of the SMAC in all of our businesses, digital businesses. There may be a lot of technologies play in the background, but for me, it's about business empowerment. Okay, what it does in help socialize the entertainment content or any product digitally business want to come with, great, generate awareness, drive virality, create engagement. So the digital aspects are not only used for the business, so it's used for the engagement as well. Okay,
Yeah.
which hopefully results in driving viewership or footfalls or PV, whatever you call it, according to your businesses. And that requires some mobility analytics, of course, help in visualizing this thing. Um, Now, the crux is the business technology must ensure that the experience is uninterrupted, seamless across various tech environments, platforms, geographies, or timelines. For my business, it's very much essential. Now, coming to a little bit technology, media business is always a dynamic business. There will be always lows and highs of traffic based on the content, age of the content. It all depends on the newer content, older content, depends on the users are coming. Even marketing campaigns bring heights of the traffic for me. Apart from the physical businesses like cinema halls, rest of the business in digital business, right solution at right time and right place need to be there to cater these loads. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's where the digital technologies come into place, and that's where this everything as a service come into place. The data driven approach is very much necessary for every organization nowadays. Auto scalable infrastructure is must to build the scale to cater those highs and lows. And at the end product design and implementation, having a security as a primary aspect, as I answered in the first question, is the key. For me, cloud and everything as a service, SaaS, what we call it, models are ideal to implement for my business because I need to reach a scale, as well as same time I take care of a cost profitability as for the business at the same time because I can't build. I have 100 million users across the globe, so I can't build. Once I launch new game, I'll even within 5 days I reach 150 million. Okay, but after 5 days it may come to 140 million. So that kind of dynamism is there. So I can't build infrastructure for that. I need to depend on the cloud services. Okay, so we built a hybrid cloud. We are using multi-cloud, that kind of facilities. AI playing a big role nowadays. We are implemented in a very big way. We have developed about 100 algorithms to identify the user preference and personalized messages, searches, as well as push notifications. Because for me, the viewers playing or looking my OTT content or searching my image marketplace on the mobile or enterprise or desktop are entirely different because I can't push notifications to a user who is watching something on the mobile to the enterprise user. Okay, so for that I need to build the algorithms. So casual gaming, animation, everywhere, most of the places we have implemented AI big way. And of course, it's helping us a lot on the user engagement as well as reducing churning, and of course, increase revenues.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Said. Your strong push on this elasticity of the world and AI is insightful. Thank you for that answer at length. It was enlightening perspective. Thank you so much again. Now I come across Shyam Seshadri. So you essentially operate on big scale, right? So starting from say break of a side indicator light of a car to kilometer. That's the scale your insurance industry play on. So especially we would like to know your perspective on IoT as a service, Internet of Things, as a service. How does this help shape insurance industry? Also, please call out top two challenges that you are facing, and how are you envisioning technology stack is going to solve the problem. Also, please explain if you have any few invisible bridges that can quickly tap as a quick wins to leverage in this space. What do you, Shyam?
Sure, Laxmi. So IoT and IoT as a service is a very interesting opportunity for insurance, right? So if you look at how insurance happens worldwide and then in India, there's a drastic difference, right? In the developed countries, you price the customer, right? So whether you're buying a vehicle insurance, you're buying a health insurance, it's really basis the customer that the price of the insurance is quoted. India, it's not as much, right? You price the asset. If it's a vehicle, customers are kind of broad bucketed. We don't really dig further deeper into it. So in the US, for example, IoT plays a big role, right? So you have what we call usage-based insurance in motor, right? So you have an onboard device that plugs in basis how you drive. Across developed markets, you can price your own insurance. So good behavior is rewarded, bad behavior is penalized, and so on. The same thing doesn't work necessarily in India directly because of, again, price and cost implications of putting a device and so on and so forth, right? But that's really where the opportunity exists, right? Every insurance company in India is not going to solve this problem, right? And that's where IoT as a service coming out with a solution that works at the kind of networks we have, the kind of cost brackets that we have, which also still give us this information, is really where the opportunity is. Same for, again, health, right? You have so many wearable devices in India at various price points. Never makes sense for a company to invest in your own IoT device that you want to get out to the market. How do you tap into these existing devices that are there in the market, and then what can you do with it, right? So one part is the data gathering, data collection, and the other part is how do you make sense of the data for your insurance use case in particular. And then the same use case applies in, say, commercial lines. When we go into factories and other settings, there's a lot of data. We don't capture that today. We don't use that today. Now, in the US, you have Nest, you have all these devices that are sold. Can you plug into that for retail, for factories, and other settings? So there's a huge opportunity because there are tons of internet-connected devices. Your phone itself is a huge internet-connected device that everybody would love to tap into. So how do you rely on existing internet-connected devices, access that data, and then what can you personalize for the user? How do you give them the right kind of setup that makes sense for the customer? That's kind of where most insurance companies are focusing, and that's kind of what we are also looking at. So IoT as a service is critical in this space because no company is going to build out that kind of capability. It makes sense to leave it to the experts, but then tie up. Right, so that's the IoT part, right? And similarly, once you start getting access to the data, insurance is a regulated industry, right? So it's very critical that you play safe with the data. So once you start dealing with all of this, your regulatory challenges itself come, right? So that's your first challenge, and that's the same challenge every regulated company faces. So you have this upcoming emerging space called RegTech, right? Regulatory technology as a service. That's something that regulatory compliance is a secondary at a lot of companies in terms of investment, but a critical part of large companies, right? So having a simple solution that works at scales becomes critical. And then security aspects, right? How do you get this data? How do you manage it? How do you, in this day and age of leaks, where every other week millions of customers' data is being emitted out by various misconfigurations, how do you protect that data? Right? It's probably giving every CISO everywhere a nightmare, right? Everything is on the cloud everywhere, everybody is accessing it. How the heck do you protect it? So that's the second major challenge that we see, right? And so the invisible bridges towards that are, again, so collaboration. Every new car really now comes down with OBD, high-tech technology. Can you tap into that? Right? Can you network with them? Similarly, everybody has a health device. Can you tap into that? That's really the first bridge of working with partners, bringing people onto the same platform. And then the second part is then tying up with your various startups and different enterprises for regulatory technology, security. to make sure that once you work with this scale of data, how do you keep that secure? Right? The customer's trust is critical. How do you ensure you can maintain?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, Shyam. It was insightful one. One size doesn't fit all, right? You clearly explained us the distinction that insurance industry is laid out in India and elsewhere. Your challenges are really challenges, and focus on collaborating with the startups is something that seems like needed there. Thank you for that answer, Shyam. So now I'll go across Manasij Kar. So Manasij, how is this low code / no code application development is making a cut in COVID-19 times in particular and elsewhere? How do we democratize this application development and simplify the intricacies around this space?
Right, Laxmi, I think that's a very good question in terms of what we were discussing a few minutes earlier about the whole business dynamicity around us right now in COVID times calls for a mechanism to speed up software development in particular. And if I look at software development in general so far, I think an enterprise IT team that's setting out to build an application typically would have three broad choices to pull from. Right, one option would be to essentially, go and purchase perhaps an off-the-shelf product. And that's a more, why would you spend time developing if something is already available in the market? So that would be a natural, and especially with the rise of so many SaaS products, so many great, well-bounded, rounded products out there in the market, something should fit the use case of an enterprise. I think that's the first call. However, we have seen that in many cases, the products per se are well defined in terms of what they can do and what they perhaps cannot do. And in so many cases, there is a need perhaps to stitch together multiple products to build an enterprise solution which serves their business needs. And so one size does not fit all, again, is that paradigm there. And the other part is that sometimes you are working in a regulated environment like an insurance or a banking, where if you had to connect to your enterprise legacy systems, how do you really do that with perhaps some of the out of the products out there in the market? Is it good enough? What kind of security systems would you have in place? So there might be other considerations before you had to choose an off-the-shelf product out there in the market, right? So that I think is the first thing that one would check. And the second fallback option, what one would check then is, okay, if really my off-the-shelf product is not serving my needs, can I build a software application here, right? But that is an expensive proposition. Business teams have to justify really why do you need that, and so not every business requests get a IT custom solution build up, right? So there is a discussion, negotiation that happens. And so what that means is that the IT teams have a bandwidth issue in coping up some of these business requests coming in an increased agility world. How can the IT teams cope up with some of these business requests coming up with building customized applications? Should there be need for it? And I think from the IT teams per se perspective as well, coding, if I look at it as a classic coding or a manual coding, it requires a human effort there, right? It is a highly labor-oriented manual topic where the skill set of a particular developer is at play, and so your ability to recruit teams and staff the project at time with multiple skill sets is sometimes a challenge. And if you have to recruit teams in the middle of a pandemic where a lot of IT requests are coming up, that sure shot is a problem, typically what we have seen so far, right? So that is about custom development efforts, and many IT teams at that point in time looks towards speeding up the custom development teams, custom developed software, how to speed up, and they use something of a technology platform, right? And technology platforms obviously speed up because you're hidden underneath the hood of the technology platform. You have the complexities of security, of abstraction of logic, good architecture principles, integrations. All of those complexities are typically hidden out in a technology platform, but that still remains in what have been done in past. I think most of them still involve manual coding to still really build out the business functionalities, right? So there was a thought process that has been evolving over a period of time. Really, how can we speed this up? And I think it was around 2014, I think Forrester came up with the term low code as to denote things like really a visual way to build out applications. And so this term called low code, no code, or LCNC in short, started gaining popularity over the past so many years. And especially with the COVID-19 pandemic, we have seen that concept really gather wide stream acceptance of a means to speed up development effort, right? So although I use low code, no code as a combined thing, it does actually have two different connotations within that same space. So one side you have a low code, or a low code is essentially a platform, a technology platform, which provides experienced developers fundamental building blocks to really build up softwares very quickly, right? And so that's a slightly different paradigm from a no code, where essentially we are asking citizen developers, the so-called citizen developers who might be business, who could be pro business, or essentially professional, let's say a pro business user, kind of a person who can really, without even coding, they can do some visual, mashup and build up software applications, right? So there are these two aspects of low code, no code. And I think, to be honest, when I look at the industry of LCNC providers at this point in time, I do see a lot of citizen development oriented focus, but I do see an increasing importance of the fact that low code with respect to facilitating complex development work is more and more important these days. And so there is a lot of importance getting towards complex applications getting built up quickly, ensuring that your junior development programmers perhaps, or your senior developers are also not just drag and drop some stuff, but also add on logic, which is a set of building tools that orchestrates your enterprise assets much more quickly, right? Over a period of time, most companies have accumulated different enterprise assets, different products, different solutions, and the proliferations of SaaS products are not making this any easier, right? You've got multiple tools getting built up every day. Somebody is trying out different products. So this is, of course, a bit of a governance issue as well going on in the enterprise. How do you orchestrate all these tools together? What is the right form of access? And I think low code, no code tools essentially help enterprises build some of these thoughts or these ideas and this orchestration of this whole enterprise assets much more quickly than what would have been otherwise possible, right? So there is this, I think the IT pundits of Gartners and KPMGs have also, been looking out this space and say, okay, I think they have some bold projections, to be honest, made up at saying that by 2024, like 25% of the IT development work would involve low code of some sorts. I think that was a Gartner prediction. And similarly, others have predicted as well. And so we see within our customers as well who have used low code, no code approaches really bear the fruit of their innovative approaches towards building codes or software applications, where they have been able to really speed up application development almost 6x times, 10x times, right? And essentially, transforming the customer's experience and, being able to orchestrate a whole bunch of their custom assets really, really rapidly. I think there are some fireside chats going on this afternoon as well, which will have some more of that. But really, this is now getting proven more and more that low code is is a very important paradigm in the enterprise IT. And I believe it has been able to democratize, in a way, the software development aspects in an enterprise IT, really change a lot. And it will continue to change quite a lot in the coming days in the space, right?
Yeah, thank you, Manasij. It's relatively younger innovation train that a lot of organizations need to be onboarded to. You echoed strongly on the need for the speed, and I'm sure it reciprocates in multiple positive ways. Thank you for explaining it so well, Manasij.
Thanks.
Yeah, so with that, I'll open the floor for Q&A if you have time and questions. Do we have any questions from the audience? I'll just go across. I do not see any question. We'll wait for a few seconds. Apparently, we don't have any question. So with that, we had quite a lot of good perspectives that emerged from these experts. And I hope we drive home this learning, take the advantage of it. Appreciate all of you panel members, especially giving out your precise time to speaking the cutting edge trends at length. Thanks once again for this opportunity for me to moderate this amazing discussion.